friends, and welcome back. I am Monica for those of you that are new to my channel. So starting today, you're going to be seeing a lot more recipes that are catered towards Thanksgiving or Christmas. They're, interchangeable. And then also leftover makeovers. But today, it is the turkey. All right, now, we all know there are many different ways to make turkey. I have made many turkeys. Some have been absolutely delicious. Some have been more on the dry side. I've tried different methods of baking a turkey. The only thing I haven't done is a deep fried turkey, but my husband and I do want to try one day. But with that being said, this turkey recipe that I'm getting ready to show you, it just brings everything that I like in my different recipes all together. So we have a brine period. We have a crispy crust. We have a super juicy, buttery, tender meat. It's just fresh herbs. It has everything. So I hope you stick around. Try this recipe out for yourself because this is going to be a turkey recipe that you're going to want to keep around forever. So let's get started. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is make this dish more like a roasting pan. And this is perfect if you don't have one, but you could also do the same method if you did. Is you put vegetables on the bottom for your bird to sit on top of. So today I'm just going with carrots and onions. You can also add celery and garlic to the bottom of this, some bay leaves, and it turns out absolutely delicious. It not only flavors your bird, but it also flavors those drippings that we're going to be using. Okay, so once you have the vegetables ready, you can go ahead and put that turkey on top. And then I keep the legs secured, especially if you're using a smaller dish like I'm having to. And then I'm also going to go ahead and tuck under the wings. And this just helps keep them in place. They aren't going to expand out and cause a big mess in my oven. I also have the neck bone still in that cavity. I want it there for not only the flavor that it's going to bring, but it's also going to give the stock and drippings such a nice, rich flavor. If you didn't want to leave it inside because you were stuffing your turkey, you could always put it underneath and you'll still get the same benefits from it. Okay, so before we get the brine going, we're going to do some butter basting. And all this means is I'm just going to put butter that has already been softened to room temperature underneath the skin of the breast. And it's just going to make such a juicy and tender, flavorful piece of meat where the breast can usually be a little dry. So I'm just going to take my fingers under there and gently pull the skin away from the breast without cutting or tearing that skin, because it's going to help really keep that butter where we want it. You could also use a flavor injector if you had one of those. I used to have one, and when I had that, I would melt the butter and then I would just push it all over inside that meat. But this works just as well. Just squish it all in there as best as you can without ripping any of the skin. And it can stay in clumps like that. Just get that whole stick all up in there. And I don't usually worry about doing any other part of the turkey because the thighs and the wings are going to be in the drippings when they cook. So they're going to stay tender. And the legs are a darker meat. And so they're going to stay tender and juicy. It's just the breasts that normally dry out. So that's what I'm worried about, is just making sure they stay really nice and juicy. Okay, now we're going to work on our brine. So this can be anywhere from 2 hours to overnight, but it's just going to add another layer of flavor that we wouldn't normally get if we didn't let it do a little brine. So the first thing I'm going to add is garlic powder, and I am just going to douse this bird in the garlic powder. It is a big bird, and it's going to take a lot of seasoning to give it a lot of flavor. So after the salt, you can go ahead and add some smoked paprika, and I emphasize to use smoked versus regular. It has much more flavor than just a paprika. And again, we're just going to put this all over the bird. Then we're going to go in with some smoked salt and do the same exact thing. And do not be scared to use the salt. It just, you need it. An under-seasoned bird is not going to be tasty. Okay, so that's it on the dry rub brine that we're going to do. So we're going to be putting this in the fridge, just cover it, stick it in the fridge just like this, anywhere from 2 hours to overnight, and then we'll bring it out and finish the rest of our turkey before we put it in the oven. Okay, so now we're on to step 2 of this delicious turkey. I just chopped up some fresh rosemary, thyme, and sage. Now, I know this is going to sound weird, but I need you to get your favorite mayonnaise, homemade or store-bought, and start clumping it up on top of your turkey. I am telling you, it is going to make the most flavorful crust, flavorful turkey, and just, it's amazing. So, I like to dollop all over, then just get your hands dirty and start rubbing that turkey. Now, I don't worry about putting it on the underside because, again, all the underside of the bird is going to be in the drippings, so it's not going to need any of the mayonnaise. But just rub it all over right on top of that dry rub seasoning until the entire top and sides of the turkey is covered in the mayonnaise. Alright, so now grab those fresh herbs. You could also use dried if that's all you have, but fresh is just going to give a richer flavor. And I just like to spread it all over the turkey. And it's just going to be so, so good. I'm also going to add in a little extra salt just on top. Not as much as we originally did, but just enough to make sure that every layer is going to have good flavor. I'm also going to put a little extra salt just on top. Not as much as we did with the brine part, but just a little bit. And then also some fresh cracked pepper. It is going to give the crust such a delicious flavor. I'm telling you, do not skip the extra salt and pepper on top. And then this is going to go uncovered in a 325-degree oven until the turkey is completely cooked. That depends, the timing depends on how big or small your turkey is. So just watch out for that. And then I will bring you back when this is a nice, delicious golden brown. Okay, so here is our big, beautiful bird all done and golden brown in all of its glory. If for whatever reason your crust is not as crispy as you want it, you can always throw it in the oven at a higher heat for about 20-30 minutes at the end, just to make sure the crust is the way that you like it. So now this is going to rest for a good 30 minutes. I'm just going to tint it. I'm not going to move it. And we're going to let all those juices go back into the meat to really make it a super juicy and tender turkey. Okay, so we've already, as you can see, I got into it to try. It is absolutely amazing. But I wanted to go over how I would serve this. Now, years ago, I would serve it whole because, of course, it looks beautiful on the table, yada, yada. But it's really inconvenient once everyone's sitting down and then you got to carve the turkey. So what I like to do is once it's rested, I cut it all up. So I'll put the legs on a platter and then the wings beside it. Like, I'll make it all look nice. And then I'll slice the breast and thigh in nice thick slices so that people can get whatever type white or dark meat that they want. Now, if you're going to make this a couple days in advance, I wouldn't advise more than 2 days in advance. But 1 or 2 days, if you wanted to go ahead and get this cut up or shredded, if you're going that route, do all that and then lay it in some sort of baking dish that can go right into the oven after you bring it out of the fridge to heat back up, and then cover it in the juices. So if I were to cut all this up a day or two in advance, I would put all the meat back into the juices, our drippings, cover it, put it in the fridge, and that way when I cook it, it's going to cook in the juices, and at no point is this bird going to dry out. That's the main thing. Those drippings are going to make sure that your bird stays nice and juicy, which is what you want. So that is the number one way to use your drippings. Madam, got puppies at my feet. That's the number one way to use the drippings, is to help store your turkey and keep it juicy if you're going to be cutting it up and making it a day or two in advance. Second, the drippings are your best friend for the best dressing video to come. And also the absolute best make-ahead gravy. Yes, I said it, make-ahead gravy. So stay tuned for both those recipes, my dressing and my make-ahead gravy. They're absolutely wonderful, and they both take turkey drippings. And in those videos, I'll go over, like, say you don't have enough turkey drippings, which I've never had that happen, or you use them all in one application and then you don't have enough. Tons of great things coming, but I wanted to just show you, I wish you could see how juicy this meat is. I'm hoping it shows up. Let's see if I can. Like, do we see the juices? And this is a breast. Like, it is so tender and juicy and so flavorful. We have the butter that we put on it, and then we have all those seasonings, the brine. It's just so good. And also, you can use the drippings regardless of if you use this seasoning or not. Even if you just put salt and pepper on the turkey and roasted it, still save those drippings. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have not subscribed, go ahead and hit subscribe so that you do not miss any of my other Thanksgiving prep meals, and also the leftover makeovers that'll be coming later on next week. So until next time, thanks for watching.